Before you relax, let me unsettle you. If a woman has ever looked calm while your chest was racing, there's a reason, and it's not what you were taught. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist and as a woman, because what you're about to hear decides whether connection grows or quietly dies. If this matters to you, subscribe and like now because the men who stay learn and the men who skip stay confused. Women rarely fall in love the way movies show. It doesn't arrive as fireworks. It arrives as safety mixed female psychology, explained with tension, familiarity laced with curiosity. When feelings start forming, many women hide them, not to manipulate you, but to protect themselves from disappointment, judgment, or loss of control. What you interpret as mixed signals is often emotional containment. The first subtle behavior is restraint. When a woman feels deeply, she often speaks less, not more. She measures her words because she's measuring you. She wants to see if you're consistent without her pushing. Silence becomes a stage 1. Emotional curiosity test of emotional stability. If you panic, overshare, or chase, she learns something important about how you handle pressure. The second behavior is controlled warmth. You'll notice kindness without full availability. She's present, attentive, even caring, but slightly out of reach. This isn't disinterest, it's calibration. She's checking whether you respect boundaries or try to break them. Attraction deepens when she feels chosen, not cornered. Third is emotional mirroring. She reflects your energy instead of leading with hers. If you're calm, she softens. If you're erratic, she pulls back. This stage 2. Emotional safety mirroring isn't accidental. It's how women evaluate emotional safety before attachment forms. Consistency is more seductive than intensity. Fourth is delayed vulnerability. She may share surface stories but hold back the core. Men often misread this as a lack of trust. In reality, it's trust being trust built slowly. Vulnerability is currency, and she won't spend it until she believes you won't devalue it. Finally, watch her patience. When a woman has feelings, she waits longer than logic suggests. She gives you room to grow, adjust, and reveal who you really are. That waiting isn't passive, it's deeply intentional. And if you... Stage 3. Emotional bonding. Recognize these patterns, stay grounded. Attraction grows where pressure fades. The men who win don't force clarity. They create calm direction and self-respect that invites a woman to step forward willingly without fear or regret over time. Naturally, when feelings deepen, another behavior appears that men often misunderstand. She becomes observant, not suspicious, not controlling observant. A woman falling in love studies patterns the way a psychologist studies behavior. She watches how you treat strangers, how you respond when plans change, how you speak about people who can no longer hear you. Love for women begins in prediction. If stage 4, attachment and trust, she can predict you, she can relax. If she can't, her heart stays guarded. You may notice her asking gentle questions that feel casual. They aren't casual, they are data points. She's learning how you regulate anger, ambition, disappointment, and desire. When her interest is real, she listens more than she talks. Silence becomes her microscope. This is why men who rush to impress often fail. Performance hides truth, and women fall in love with truth. Another subtle sign is emotional containment during conflict. When she cares, she argues less aggressively than you expect. She chooses restraint, what stops women from falling in love, because she's imagining a future version of you. She doesn't want to damage something she's quietly building. If she goes cold instead of explosive, it's not indifference. It's self-protection mixed with hope. Watch her time investment. She won't flood you with attention, but she becomes reliably present. Consistency replaces novelty. She shows up when it matters, remembers details you forgot you shared, and tracks emotional shifts without announcing them. This is attachment forming beneath the surface. There's final truth about female love, also a shift in her standards. When feelings grow, she raises the bar internally while appearing flexible externally. She's asking herself whether you meet the man she could trust long-term. Men misread this as her being hard to read. In reality, she's deciding whether love is safe with you. Finally, she slows things down emotionally. Even if chemistry is strong, slowing isn't rejection, it's regulation. Women fall in love when desire and safety move together. If one outpaces the other, she applies brakes. The men who understand this don't push. They stay centered, emotionally disciplined, and honest. That steadiness allows her feelings to surface without fear. And when they do, they're far deeper than anything rushed ever creates. This is how quiet attachment becomes powerful, because it grows in stability, respect, and earned trust, not adrenaline. When you embody calm direction and self-control, her guarded heart recognizes safety and love, forms naturally without pressure, drama, or emotional chaos that feels real, sustainable, and deeply mutual. As feelings deepen, a woman often does something that confuses men the most. She becomes paradoxical, warmer, yet more distant, more interested, yet less obvious. This isn't games, this is internal conflict. Love for many women triggers an ancient negotiation between desire and self-preservation. When that negotiation begins, her behavior subtly shifts. One sign is selective availability. She doesn't disappear, but she's no longer instantly accessible. This isn't to create mystery, it's to regain emotional balance. When feelings rise, a woman instinctively checks whether her life still has structure without you at the center. If you react with neediness, she feels the imbalance. If you stay grounded, attraction stabilizes. Another behavior is increased self-control around affection. She may touch less, flirt more softly, or pull back right after moments of closeness. Men often think they did something wrong. In reality, she felt something right and it scared her. Emotional spikes create vulnerability. Pulling back is how she regulates that intensity without shutting down entirely. You'll also notice a shift in how she talks about the future. She won't make promises, but she'll reference possibility. Language like if, maybe, or someday appears. This isn't indecision. It's testing resonance. She's feeling out whether your values, rhythm, and direction align with the future she can emotionally survive. Another subtle sign is emotional defensiveness disguised as humor or logic. When feelings grow, she may joke away serious moments or intellectualize emotions. This isn't coldness, it's containment. Humor becomes armor when vulnerability feels risky. If you respond with emotional steadiness instead of pressure, she feels safer removing that armor over time. Watch how she handles your flaws. When a woman is falling in love, she notices imperfections more clearly, not less. But instead of attacking them, she weighs them quietly. She asks herself whether she can respect you through them. Respect is the foundation of female attachment. Without it, desire erodes. Finally, there's a deep internal check happening. She asks whether being with you would cost her peace. Women fall in love when a man adds clarity, not chaos. If your presence calms her nervous system, even when emotions are intense, attachment strengthens. If it destabilizes her, she retreats. The men who don't panic during this phase stand out. They don't chase distance. They don't interrogate silence. They remain consistent, self-directed, and emotionally regulated. That stability allows her paradox to resolve naturally. When it does, her guarded feelings don't trickle out. They arrive with commitment, depth, and a loyalty that was quietly forming long before you realized it was there. When a woman is truly falling in love, something subtle but profound happens inside her perception of you. She starts watching how you handle power, not dominance over her, but mastery over yourself. This is where many men lose momentum without realizing it. Emotional attraction deepens when a woman feels that a man is steady in who he is, not reactive to who she is. You may notice she challenges you more lightly at first. Small disagreements, gentle pushback, quiet tests. This isn't disrespect, it's assessment. She's seeing whether your confidence collapses under friction or remains grounded. Women don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with emotional leadership. How you respond matters more than what you say. Another behavior is her increased sensitivity to tone. When feelings are hidden but growing, tone becomes louder than words. She notices impatience, sarcasm, defensiveness. Not because she's fragile, but because attachment sharpens awareness. Her nervous system is asking a simple question: is this man safe when things aren't smooth? You might also feel her emotional presence deepen without clear labels. She remembers how you like your coffee, checks in before important moments, or supports you quietly rather than dramatically. This is love forming in behavior, not declarations. Many men miss this because they're waiting for verbal confirmation instead of emotional consistency. There's also a shift in how she protects herself around you. Instead of walls, she uses boundaries. Boundaries mean she cares. Walls mean she's done. If she explains what she needs rather than disappearing, she's investing emotionally. That explanation takes courage. Women don't offer it unless feelings are involved. Another subtle sign is her willingness to sit in silence with you. No performance, no entertainment, no constant stimulation, just presence. For women, comfort in silence is intimacy. It means her nervous system doesn't need to stay alert. That's rare, and it's deeply telling. At this stage, she's also evaluating how you respond to her emotions, not just your own. Does she feel heard without being fixed? Validated without being minimized? Women fall in love when they feel emotionally understood without having to perform or explain themselves repeatedly. If you try to rush clarity here, you disrupt the process. If you stay centered, purposeful, and emotionally available, without pressure, her hidden feelings continue to solidify. Love doesn't explode at this point. It crystallizes quietly, powerfully, and when a woman reaches that state, she doesn't wonder whether she feels something. She knows, and she's already deciding whether to trust you with it. There's a moment most men never notice, but it's one of the clearest indicators that a woman is falling in love while trying not to show it. She starts regulating herself around you. Her emotions become more controlled, not because she feels less, but because she feels more. When attachment grows, women instinctively try to avoid emotional mistakes. They don't want to scare you away, and they don't want to lose themselves. You may see her pause before responding, even to messages that matter to her. That pause isn't indifference, it's emotional editing. She's asking herself whether what she feels is safe to reveal. The deeper the feeling, the more careful the delivery. Men often confuse this with a lack of enthusiasm, but it's actually emotional discipline. Another subtle behavior is increased accountability. She becomes more aware of how her actions affect you. She apologizes more sincerely. She clarifies misunderstandings instead of letting them fade. This only happens when a woman emotionally includes you in her internal world. When she doesn't care, she doesn't correct. She disconnects. Watch how she responds to your success or confidence. A woman hiding deep feelings doesn't compete with you. She supports you, but quietly. She celebrates without clinging. She wants to feel proud of you without feeling dependent on you. That balance is critical for long-term attraction, and she's unconsciously protecting it. You might also notice a subtle jealousy that never becomes drama. She doesn't accuse or confront aggressively. Instead, she observes. She asks neutral questions. She adjusts her behavior slightly. This isn't insecurity. It's attachment awareness. Her emotions are engaged, but her self-respect remains intact. Another key sign is emotional generosity without expectation. She gives without immediately asking for reassurance in return, advice, support, presence, not to earn love, but because she feels connected. When feelings are hidden, generosity becomes a quiet expression of care. At this stage, she's also monitoring how she feels after interactions with you, not during them, but after. Does she feel calm or anxious, energized or drained? Women fall in love when a man leaves their nervous system regulated. If you bring clarity, humor, steadiness, and direction, her attachment deepens naturally. The men who misstep here demand emotional proof. They ask for reassurance. They push for labels. That pressure forces her to choose between her feelings and her peace, and peace always wins. The men who succeed remain consistent, grounded, and emotionally literate. They don't rush the flower before it's ready. They let attraction mature. And when a woman finally stops regulating herself around you, when she allows her emotions to flow freely, It's because she trusts that you won't mishandle what she's been protecting all along. When a woman's feelings are fully engaged, but still unspoken, her focus subtly shifts toward emotional permanence. She begins imagining continuity, not fantasy, but emotional durability. You'll notice she becomes more curious about how you think under pressure, how you recover from mistakes, and how you treat yourself when no one is watching. Love for women is less about excitement and more about reliability over time. One behavior that appears is emotional prioritization disguised as neutrality. She won't announce that you matter more, but her decisions quietly reflect it. She adjusts schedules, defends your character when you're absent, and considers your emotional position. Without being asked, this isn't sacrifice, it's inclusion. You're being factored into her internal calculations. Another sign is softened expectations. She stops idealizing and starts accepting. This doesn't mean she lowers standards. It means she sees you clearly and stays present anyway. That choice is powerful. Women fall in love when reality doesn't shatter affection. If she remains warm while fully aware of who you are, attachment is deepening. You may also notice her becoming protective of the connection itself. She avoids unnecessary conflict, chooses her words carefully, and corrects misunderstandings early. This protection isn't fear, it's investment. She's guarding something she values, even if she hasn't named it yet. There's also a shift in how she listens. She remembers emotional details, not just facts. She recalls how events made you feel and references them later. That emotional memory signals bonding. It means you've moved from interest to significance. At this stage, her body language often reveals what her words don't. Relaxed posture, slower movements, sustained eye contact. These are nervous system cues. Her body feels safe before her mind allows full expression. Men often disrupt this phase by seeking certainty. They ask for reassurance because they sense the depth forming. But certainty is not what builds love. Trust does. When you remain consistent without demanding emotional disclosure, you allow her feelings to surface naturally. A woman falls in love when she can let go of vigilance, when she doesn't have to monitor herself, protect her heart, or manage your reactions. If you provide steadiness, clarity, and emotional maturity, her guarded feelings don't need hiding anymore. They transition quietly into devotion, respect, and a bond that isn't loud but lasts. This kind of love grows slowly, deeply, and endures pressure without collapsing. When external circumstances inevitably change appear, the final shift happens quietly, and most men only recognize it in hindsight. A woman stops hiding her feelings, not by confessing them, but by living as if they're already true. There's a calm inevitability to it. She no longer manages the connection, she inhabits it. This is where love settles into the body before it ever reaches the mouth. You'll notice she no longer monitors your reactions as closely. Not because she cares less, but because she trusts more. The emotional guardrails come down, she speaks more freely, laughs more openly, and allows moments of imperfection without immediate repair. That ease is intimacy. When a woman feels safe enough to be unpolished, attachment has crossed a threshold. Another sign is emotional reciprocity. Without calculation, she gives and receives naturally. There's no scorekeeping, no subtle testing. She trusts that what flows out will be met, not exploited. This is a profound shift from early attraction, where everything is measured. Love removes the ruler. Her language also changes. She stops speaking hypothetically about you and starts speaking relationally. Not dramatic future promises, but inclusion. We appears casually. Your presence is assumed, not questioned. That assumption is built on months of emotional data you didn't even realize you were providing. She also becomes braver with truth. She expresses needs without fear of abandonment. She disagrees without anxiety. This isn't conflict, it's security. Women don't risk honesty unless they believe the connection can hold it. At this stage, she's no longer asking whether she has feelings. She's asking whether you are the man she can build with. Love is no longer emotional. It's evaluative. Respect, alignment, and shared values matter more than chemistry. Now, this is where boys get left behind and men step forward. If you've been consistent, emotionally regulated, purposeful, and self-respecting, her hidden feelings resolve into choice. And when a woman chooses, it's not impulsive. It's deliberate. This is how women fall in love slowly, carefully, intelligently, not through pressure, performance, or pursuit, but through emotional safety, grounded presence, and earned trust. If you understand this, you stop chasing signals and start becoming stable. And stability is what unlocks a woman's deepest attachment. Not loudly, not dramatically, but in a way that lasts long after attraction alone would have faded. Developer mode.